Welcome to the Battle Buddy Podcast with Keith McKeever.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Battle Buddy Podcast. Today, I have a gentleman on who I have known for many years, probably more than I want to count. This is like an original Battle Buddy for me. We served together. We were in Iraq together at the same time for a little bit overlapping times. We were in Ecuador together. This guy really means a lot to me. He's been a good friend for years, so I'm excited to have Brandon Abbey here. Brandon, what we're talking about today is writing. You're an author and a publisher, and we're going to kind of talk about writing and writing through depression. And I will say, dude, I didn't know that you were even into writing. That's one thing I didn't know about you until just a handful of years ago when you started putting out some books. So I'm excited to talk about that. But before we get into that, share a little bit of your story. You know, how'd you get in the Air Force? What'd you do? What's that story like for you?
Well, I appreciate you for inviting me on the call, man. For real. And second time out of your schedule for me and this. I started off, man. I'm gonna take it all the way back, what makes it interesting, that much more interesting, anyways. In third grade and fifth grade, I hated writing. I hated getting in front of people. I hated all that stuff. I dropped out of high school at 17 because I failed the third and fifth grade. And today I am a 6-time published author, public speaker, sliding into the motivational speaking. So it still baffles me a lot because I never like to get in front of, I would take a 0 just so I have to do a book report and speak in front of people. So we're talking about, 20 some years later, God has a different plan for you, you know what I'm saying? And utilizing that. And I've always been a motivator type person anyways, even time when we was in service, when we was in Japan and we was in Iraq and Ecuador and stuff like that, I always been that guy in school and things of that nature, right? And so, I did a tour in Iraq. I did 2 tours in Iraq, one to Afghanistan, one to Ecuador. And so when I was in Afghanistan, I was on a path to really do a lot of great things in the military in the United States Air Force. I seen Chief, and it was nothing less than that. But I went to Afghanistan and I hit on a no notice in Afghanistan, and I felt that it was my time to hang my boots up. You know what I mean? Because it was I felt that like I didn't get a notice when I asked. You know what I'm saying? And like, yeah, I know for some people it's like, oh, that's our job or whatever. But after you put in so much work and so much time away from your family, as you know me, it was military and then my family, not the family and then military type deal. Because always, in the military, I had, in 27 months, I had 5th Air Force Airman of the Year. All the awards under that, Airman of the Quarter, Airman of the, all these different awards or whatever. So I put everything before my family. And so I felt slapped in the face. So Afghanistan, I thought about going to OTS. I had a bachelor's degree, got my bachelor's degree in 3.5 years on active duty service, on 3 deployments, 2 to Iraq, and then 1 to one to Ecuador at the time. So we talking about, I'm out there, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't just shortchanging the military. I was, excelling in both ways. And so, that hit me with that little depression right there. Because it's like, dang, you're just a number, right? You're just a number to the military, and that's all you are. And so I felt that was a slap in the face to me. And so that really messed with me a lot. And because I wanted to do 20 years. I had motivated people to do a lot. I wanted people to go to school, and I wanted to do all these different things. And, God just had a different plan for me, and I had shoulder surgery when I came back from Afghanistan. And, I was just a different person, and the PTSD was kicking in, and like my temper was like a fuse, like a short fuse too, ready to pop off. You know what I'm saying? So just after a couple times of, knowing yourself and wanting to continue to excel and not get kicked out. I went to when I got treatment, and because I had some crazy thoughts, um, or whatever, and all that. So I just kept on going with that. And when I went to Arizona, I was just like, okay, I'm going through this treatment. So I went through a 6 month, 7 month prolonged exposure treatment, and with the expose, it helped me out with my PTSD a lot. And so, because because I waited so long, and allowing the military to, go in that direction, it had become a little bit more than that, just PTSD. So just kind of and seeing what I seen, no minds could really experience that type of stuff. So um, I just kept on going. In 2013, for me, I met one of one of Ecuador at the time. So we talking about I'm out there, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't just shortchanging the military. I was, excelling in both ways. And so that hit me with that little depression right there, because it's like, dang, you're just a number, right? You're just a number to the military, and that's all you are. And so I felt that was a slap in the face to me. And so that really messed with me a lot. And because I wanted to do 20 years, I had motivated people to do a lot. I wanted people to go to school, and I wanted to do all these different things. And God just had a different plan for me, and I had shoulder surgery when I came back from Afghanistan, and I was just a different person, and the PTSD was kicking in, and like my temper was like a fuse, like a short fuse too, um, ready to pop off. You know what I'm saying? So just after a couple times of knowing yourself and wanting to um, continue to excel and not get kicked out. When I got treatment, and because I had some crazy thoughts, um, or whatever, and all that. So I just kept on going with that. And when I went to Arizona, I was just like, okay, I'm going through this treatment. So I went through a 6 month, 7 month prolonged exposure treatment, and with the expose, it helped me out with my PTSD a lot. And so, because because I waited so long, and allowing the military to, go in that direction, it had become a little bit more than that, just PTSD. So just kind of and seeing what I seen, no minds could really experience that type of stuff. So um, I just kept on going. In 2013, for me, I met just kind of kept on going from there. And for me, and just kind of go up on going in a circle. And I separated the military, and when I separated, I had, I was like, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. There's no other. Burn the bridge. I ain't going to get no gig or whatever. I'm gonna go to school, and I'm gonna figure this thing out. And when I came out, my wife, she had flatlined. Well, she flatlined when I came back. They brought me back from Iraq early in 2010, and she flatlined again because she flatlined. And then when she flatlined again in 2012, when I came right after I came back from Afghanistan. And so I'm still dealing with that, dealing with that in family, and we having our issues and things of that nature. But so we're gonna keep on going with this thing or whatever. And we were separated at the time, and we ended up getting back together. And when I separated, and when that was the case, and we just kept on rolling. We ended up getting back together, and we was like, okay, we're gonna try this thing again one more time. And so you know, she had already written 2 books at the time. No, 3 books. She had read 2 poetry books and a actual novel, right, of her story, telling her story. Like it was Flatline, Almost Don't Count, Almost Doesn't Count. And so we got back together, and she was writing on the next book, right, was Flatline Resuscitated. So she started writing on that, and I'm seeing her doing it. Just kind of, I'm going to school and full time and things of that nature. And we just kind of kept on rolling with that. And it came in the um summer of 2015, and which was an interesting summer, right? And so on that we she was talking to one of her friends that is a Walmart or a mainstream author at this point. Um, she got books in Walmart and Target and all that stuff. So she was talking to her, giving her a book title for a publishing company. And so they talking, and I'm a numbers guy. I had already a bachelor's degree and all that. I've always been a numbers guy. And so I looked it up and I said, oh man, the book industry is $26.3 billion. So whoa, that's a lot of money. And you know what I mean? And like my therapist had just told me, hey, you need to sit down and you need to write down your thoughts. You need to write down channel your thoughts. Because that's one of the biggest things that's kind of harping you on. So I was like, okay, cool. And so I looked at that and said, oh, my wife was writing. I think I can write too then, you know? So she, they talked about that and I'm like, okay. So they said a name, it was Madam. And I was like, boom, a book title came in my name, my head, and the whole storyline came in my head. I said, wow, okay. Because like I said, I read personal development. That's all who I've been, you know what I mean, in military type books, whatever, for studying, right? And so I'm just kind of rolling with that. Just keep going on. And I tell my wife, it was funny. I told my wife, I said, hey, I'm gonna write a book. She said, oh, that's dope. I said, and I came back to it again. It's like, hey, I'm gonna write a book. She said, oh, that's cool. Then I said, hey, I'm gonna write a book. She said, don't talk to me about that book ever again until you write it. And I said,
first page first, right?
I said, who you talking to like that? That's what I'm thinking in my head, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, what the hell she talk to like that? Okay, I'm gonna show her, right? Because she was, she held me accountable for things or whatever, just like I held her accountable for things too. So, you know what I'm saying? We was friends first. And so we just kind of rocked and roll with that. And we got on the trip. Let me tell you like where we were financially at the time. Like I couldn't go I was so jacked up. Like the VA was jacked up with doing my disability, right? They was jacked up with doing my disability. And so they hadn't really gave me any disability. So I went to school full time. And where we were, she was collecting disability herself. We went to New York on a trip, right? This is a nugget, right? To never put your dreams to the somebody tell you this. To never put your dreams to the side and say you can't do some things. We went to New York on ball tires, no insurance, and no registration. Ball tires, no insurance, no registration. Today, between me and my wife, we got 22 books. We've published over 200. We've published over 200 books. You know what I'm saying? So don't let that be because if we just, oh man, we can't do that. You know what I mean? Because I got inspired to write while I was on that trip. Wrote Madam Secretary, which got Madam Secretary, which the only book we wrote together. I have it in there on a screenwrite, on a script, and as well as looking to do some amazing other things with that book. So don't ever say, oh, I can't do this because you got a situation. Your faith gotta be bigger than your fear.
I think that's what I like about that because I've known that story for a couple of years now, but I think it's important to put that in perspective. That was 2015. So that's only been 7 years. You went from bald tires, no insurance, no registration, driving from Atlanta to New York, just following a dream. Like New York or bust. Like this is it. Like, and that's almost like what movies are made out of, right? That's like the opening lines of a movie. It's just follow your dreams, take that leap of faith, and see what the heck is on the other side.
See what the heck is up. If we get pulled over, I'll take the charge. You know what I'm saying? I'll take it. But we made it back safely. We got tires. We ended up building, kept building and building and building. Don't, and another nugget is don't, when it comes down to it, not to say you can't do some things, you know what I mean? Because that inspires me now because even on 2 disabilities, in my company, because we started that company, we was able to buy a $265,000 house with no W-2 job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like no W-2 job. We was a little small company or whatever, and we still was able to continue to go on. And so I just dropped book number 6, which I'm super excited about. It's part 2, and it's the first book that launched after my wife passing or whatever. You know, I didn't want to let her go or whatever. I felt like I had to get out here and put this work in. You know what I'm saying? So it's this book right here. Um, this book, Path to the Throne 2. I just talked to one of my readers yesterday, and she was like, "Oh my gosh." That's the only thing she can say is, "Oh my gosh."
Well, that should tell you something right there.
She said, "Oh my gosh." She personally said that was the best book she'd read from me. Out of all of them, like she's like, I loved the first one, but that's probably the best book I'd have read from you. Like, and it was a little bit of everything.
Now these are fictional, like romance, life, all intertwined kind of books, right? It's
Yeah, it's urban books.
yeah.
Urban books or whatever. It's talking about life. Yeah, about life. And with this book, I was in different areas of my life, and when I really dove into it, I was like, okay, I'm about to put this book to work. And um, it's a prayer in there. Somebody's about to die, so you're on the edge of your seat. You're captured, and like at the beginning of the book is this thing, and then at the end of the book, it's like, oh my gosh. So it's a coordination of things, and I'm like, so when I was doing a read through, I'm like, wow, this is a movie here. Yeah, so I advise anybody go and get Path to the Throne too.
And I'm just kind of curious because I actually told somebody this the other day. I think writing is really no different than grabbing some clay and making a pot or putting some paint on a canvas. It's an art form, and I am like probably the most uncreative person out there. There's a reason I do a podcast.
No. One thing. Let me take that back. Let me take that. We're not gonna put that energy in the universe, okay? Yeah. Because you don't know what you don't know. Okay.
Good point.
You don't know what you don't know. If you've never tried it, you don't know if you're good at it or not.
That's a good point. The things I have tried that are artistic in nature, I have not been terribly good at.
But it takes 10,000 hours. Have you tried 10,000 hours at it?
I definitely have not tried 10,000 hours of artwork.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you read several different books at those 10,000 hours. I can't remember where I got that from. Is for 10,000 hours. I think it was from Think and Grow Rich. If I'm mistaken. 10,000 hours. You haven't tried 10,000 hours, so you don't know. You tried it once or twice. Like, oh, I ain't good at it. I'm gonna keep on moving. Dang. But just like real estate, right? You're a real estate agent. You ain't tried it. Your first sale, you're like, oh, I ain't make that one, so I'm gonna quit, right? You kept on at it, right? And then you became the top real estate agent in your area. The top, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why I salute you, man. Like, the top in your area, you're, you know what I'm saying, president of associations and things of that nature. But the first time you ain't win at it, you right? It's like, man, I ain't gonna quit because you had to do it.
You go through some bumps and bruises along the path, but
that's
you
it.
Can't give up.
Right there. That's it. You didn't give up.
Yeah.
It's just like when you're in basic training, like these push-ups or these sit-ups or these, like, man, I can't eat food in 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
No, you figured. We all know you figured
that out.
Shoot, I'm ashamed to say I still eat my meals in like 2 minutes.
Right.
Like, these days, how do you do that? And I'm like, I don't know, muscle memory. Like, I'm afraid the next person at the table is going to get up, and I'm going to have to be done early. Like,
right.
Man, yeah. So the books and the writing, man, I'm just curious because of the creative side of things. Like, how much did what you gone through depression wise, or what's going on in society, or just other things play a factor into that creative process of like developing the storyline and writing all that out?
the depression aspect of it or whatever. I personally I add some motivational stuff in there because I try not to breathe. I'll probably touch on that, like a person's feelings in that, but I try not to bring it into a depression because I don't want anybody to get depressed as they are, you know, um, that's a part of life, but I don't want to dive too deep in there. I don't want to put anybody in that because it only takes 1 second to get in depression, but it takes a hell of a lot of more than 1 second to get out of that one.
That's a good point.
So, I definitely take perspectives like, oh man, it sucks, and if you look at that as depression type deal, yeah, I talk about, man, it sucks. I'm gonna overcome it though. It's always, I'm not gonna overcome this. Like, I'm not gonna be stuck here forever, and this next books or whatever I have it's gonna be pretty legit. Pretty legit. I'm actually really honing in on the craft now. After I wrote that book, I'm honing in on the craft to really put in. I've started doing research on the next books and all that stuff too. So I'm honing in on the craft to really put that work in.
Yeah, just like anybody does. You should go back and review. I mean, I do that on this podcast. I think after every episode, I'm like, okay, what went good, what went bad. What other questions did I miss out on opportunity to ask? You just got to reflect on all those things to grow, to get better, and I would, imagine even writing's the same thing and be like, what did I leave out of this storyline? Was there a point in the book that I, missed an opportunity for a good life lesson to interject there or something somewhere along the lines? Or did I miss an opportunity to kind of hint on something that's, going on in society these days, tie it into a timeline some way. So
Right. And that's one of the things about a book or whatever. It allows, that's what people that's why I look to do surely. I got a lot of things on my plate that I want to do or whatever, and my mind is continuously run. But a book is that's your new business card. Like, you can add that's your business card right there. All right, cool. I ain't got no business card, but I got a book right here. Here's how you can be, you trying to a new client, whatever. Hey, check this out. Here's what, if you're looking for something, here's the things to look for when you're doing a house. When you look for a house, like you shared it with me one time. So here's the things you look for when you're trying to find a house. Make sure you find a great mortgage company. Make sure you find, before you even really dive into it, mortgage company, a great area, school, whatever. So outlining that type of stuff would enable this person, as they like, oh, he's an expert at that. You can sell that on Amazon. That's another stream of income, residual income.
True. Yeah, you can do workbooks off of things. You can, in a book, people need to frame it doesn't have to be a 200 or 300, 400 page book. You can be a published author with something drastically shorter. You have to have something that people want to pick up and flip open, for sure. But you can. I think anybody can write something. Not to tip my hat or anything, but I'm in that process myself, writing one on real estate. For veterans that try and get out there and just help people make better informed decisions about real estate.
Yep, informed. Yep.
Because there's a lot of there's a lot of junk on the internet that you can read. It may not be applicable, so there's a lot of things that people can do. There's a lot of amazing books out there, whether it's your own story, you're making one up, or sharing your expertise. So there's a lot to that. So another thing I wanted to ask you, which I think is really neat, because you got into writing because of your wife, but your son is also an author, correct? How does that, I'm just curious, from just a parent-child relationship, how has that like been a bond for you guys and a connector?
Well, one of the things is when his mom was alive, and like it was mostly me, him, and her. Like, we'll go to book signings, which would be pretty cool or whatever. Him and his mom, they sat down and they just kind of, they just kind of wrote their books, and he was a little kid, and and they kind of started that, and she was kind of honing in on the craft, the legacy type deal. So, one of the things is I say I'm actually gonna start promoting a lot more is from therapy to legacy, and like people don't understand, like you can be able to write your stuff, and it helps him because he actually had leg surgery, right? He had leg surgery. He had a cyst in his leg, um, and all that, and he was able to um had surgery. We put him out the football season for the whole year. Then he had surgery. Then the pandemic hit, and so he had to have surgery again to get the rod taken out and all that stuff. So he had to go through it, But doing that before he did that, that writing. So now, and so from there, so he's actually thinking about um writing a book this summer. No, just he said he's thinking about writing a teen book this summer. He just wants to.
It's got to be quite an interesting thing for somebody like yourself that didn't like to be up in front of people or to do
Yeah,
any writing.
man.
To do any writing, to see
I
him, as a preteen, somewhere around that age, isn't he? And to see
same
him getting creative in writing. So what's on the horizon after this book? I know you got some others. What else you got coming up here?
man. I got this book, man. It is so tough. It's called Carpe Diem. Where um, this guy is, he was in the game, and then he went to prison, and then now he's out of the game. He's an entrepreneur. He's opened a cigar bar up and all that stuff. But he was in the game, but he's gonna be funneling money. So I get that's just gonna lead into some other stuff. Some other book I got this 6-part like series that's gonna be dropping right after that. And that one's gonna be. I've already started looking up the details of that. That one's called Filthy Money, and man, um, yeah, it's gonna change the game right there.
That sounds interesting. Just the title
It's
alone.
called Filthy Money. Yeah, Filthy Money. It's I have already, like I said, doing some research on some different platforms and stuff, and that one's right there is gonna be dope. I can definitely, as it's in my head, and um, I definitely really want to just kind of continue to put this work out, and then, but I'm also doing this business thing too because I got my MBA. So I'm sliding into. I got a business course I'm putting together. I got an author course I'm putting together. And I also have this how to overcome grief. How to overcome grief course I'm putting together. That one's going to be a very detailed course. But anybody that's going through any type of grief, whether it's grief out the military, grief in a relationship, grief of divorce, grief from a transition, that one right there is going to be very detailed. I'll have that coming up here shortly. I've already started like putting that together. So, as an entrepreneurial brain, you got to keep your mind going because it keep these different things and streams of income to going in. But those are the things that'll be dropping within next year or two. But I got my time devoted to my business partner said, "Hey, you need to put some time to something." So I got something super exciting that I'm doing to help people launch their business and things of that nature, like with that
Those
business course to
those courses
get that
sound
business
awesome,
credit and stuff.
and that sounds
Yeah,
really impactful to have something, especially with grief. Because you hit on a handful of different things a lot of people could go through. Like it could be anywhere. So that's some good stuff for some people. So you have to let me know once those get a little closer, man. We'll share it with the Battle Buddy podcast networks and get that out there, man, because it could be some helpful stuff for people. But
yeah.
go ahead and throw your website down here at the bottom. But kind of want to talk a little bit
Okay.
about what you guys do on the publication side, because I think that's something that we kind of talked about writing and how it can kind of be beneficial for healing, right? And some of that stuff. But anything that you want to say about, the publication side that people should know about, what that looks like and how long it takes, or, some things like that?
Well, the publication size, it can take, it just depends on the person though. Like, how dedicated you are. Like, if you got your book already completed, you know, if you got your book completed already, you know, you can come. You can just hit me up on the email, diamantepublications at gmail.com, and we can converse and whatever about consulting. I do self-publishing consulting. When you got your book finished, and I'll get the editor, and pretty much you just pay a number. You pay a number, um, which number is like $1,500, and I do the rest of it for you. And that's with the included with the editing. I do that, to getting your book set up, and getting your proof done, and you having getting your logo, I mean getting your book cover done, and all that stuff. I will complete all that stuff and make sure your rights is you got a 100%, and you keep 100% of your rights. Um, and so I pretty much set up a whole entire business for you. I mean, like and you can just take it from there. Um, and then if it's like if a person want to launch their own publishing company, you know I do that as well. That's a lot more, not a lot more, but it's a little bit more, because it's going to require a lot of different paperwork to be filed on whatever
Absolutely.
state.
That's why I wanted to ask that
um
question, because I feel like that's probably a block for a lot of people. Would you say? Just the
what
whole
is
idea of
that?
like, well, writing the book is one thing, but putting it together and editing and cover and getting everything set up on the other, that's a whole different beast.
It's a
I
whole
would
different
look at
beast,
that like
like if you ain't
people
done
look
it
at that
before.
as a block. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I've done it. I've been doing it for the last what 7 years now at this point. So that's just like a breeze for me. And all that stuff. So I could do it. And I set up the publications. I mean, I set up the whole publications, and set up the whole platform for them, and get the book edited, and all that stuff. Get it. Just kind of go through the process, and we set up a date. If somebody wants to, um, a books to drop this summer, I would advise them, just go get it done now. You know what I'm saying? Reach out, Diamante Publications at gmail.com. Go ahead and reach out now. Let's go ahead and put that date on it. You know what I'm saying? Let's slap that date on it, and and that way we got time to really ain't trying to rush. And if it's an important date, and all that stuff, then I can go ahead and get it done. And when it comes down to my clients, I make sure that they got my utmost time. You know what I'm saying? And like to ensure that it's all put together the correct way. And so that's one of the biggest things for me, and um, diving into that. And I enjoy doing that or whatever, but I also enjoy, I just enjoy helping people. I actually got a like I said, the author course or whatever that's going to be dropping shortly. So if they want to learn how to just, it's a basic author course. Whereas me, when I do it, it's gonna, I'll teach you. But when I do it, it's gonna be like boom, 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 boom. Is more so paying for my time.
Yeah, makes sense. I would imagine for some people, just even getting started as like a little kid trying to figure out where to start cleaning up the room.
When I start, yeah, when I start, you
Where
gonna
do you
look it
start?
up, but
How do you organize it and stuff like that? But one of my goals of this podcast is to educate, inspire, and I just kind of thought of something. But hey, everybody should just go do it. Just write, even if you're just writing for yourself, like just go write and put your story down. But where?
like, we all have a story.
Oh, absolutely. We all have a story, and you may not think your story is anything special or unique, but it is. Just as
It
unique as
is.
our fingerprints are, It's it's all unique. But I'm curious from, kind of educating the listeners on this process. What would you say is probably easier than most people think about getting a book done and published, and what do you think is probably a harder step than people think?
The easier part of it is the writing part, because I think people, misconstrue. I think that's the biggest thing that people misconstrue, that you don't have to write a book to be an author. You don't have to write a book to be an author. Like you can be able to be, you can pay somebody to be a ghostwriter for you. You can pay somebody, or you can sit down with the person that is an author that you can co-write it with or whatever, and just put your name
Yeah.
on it and give them pass the information along, right? You can do an anthology, right? Where you know you're bringing down thoughts, right? It's multiple ways to skin a cat, multiple ways to skin a cat, and so I would say that was people because they like, I ain't no writer, I ain't no writer, I ain't no writer. You know what I'm saying? I hear that so much. Like who's going to tell your story better than you? Nobody, right?
Good point. Yeah.
We all have been to school before. We know how to write. We just that's a mental lie that we tell ourselves. Just like when you mentioned before, like, oh, I am the most we
An
say
artistic person. Yeah.
artistic person in the world. But no, we have to stop telling ourselves that, right? Because if it was between life or death, we're gonna choose life, right? And we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
So that's the lies we tell ourselves sometimes. Um, that's probably the hardest. I mean, that's why I say what people say the block. Um, to get it published, to publish it, finding a platform that you would like to be on. It's multiple ways you can like I said. You can go independent. You can go through Amazon. You can go through all these different websites. Not even just those. You can go through what is it? iTunes, not iTunes, but iBooks. You go to Google. You go to all these different things.
You see anybody ever just go like publish like right to an audiobook? Like, just don't
Yeah.
actually get anything printed, like ebooks and audiobooks, and there's a route that you could probably go there too. It's just
Well, you
digital.
have to. Yeah, you would just have to. With that, you would have to. You still gonna have to have words.
Right. I mean, I take like an ebook and turn it into an audiobook too,
Yeah.
and then you don't have the printing and the physical books. Like, you can kind of choose your own path, right?
You choose your own. Like you your own boss. Like that's one of the things. Like we all have skills. There's 7.8 billion people in the world. We all have skills, and I think we falsify ourselves to believe that we're inadequate against our own measures. But that's not true. I'm gonna say that again. We falsify our thoughts to believe that we're inadequate against our own measures. But that's not true. We can do whatever we want to in life. We're creators. We're all creators in life, right? We're all creators in life. Whether it be publishing, whether it be like, we both served in the United States Air Force as security forces, military police. I haven't done that stuff in 7 years, right? I think about it. Yeah, almost 8 years now. I can still go and clear a weapon out and I can hold a post if I had to. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not, but
Yeah.
I can still go and put a slap on my uniform and you know, go through some training and use some force training. I'm not, whatever, but at the end of the day, you can. Right? It's stuff roofing and construction. I haven't done that stuff in even longer than that. It's been 17 years, 18, yeah, I think about 17 years. I can go in like the house up here. I did the valley up here, and I hadn't done that in ages. I hadn't done it in like 14 years, 13 years or something. And freaking because our mind is subconscious, we know how to do it. We just got to do it. Oh, okay, I remember how to do it now. Like changing a tire. I haven't changed a tire. I know how to do that. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I haven't changed the tire, but
Yeah. It's not right.
we just go get it done.
Just like you hadn't ridden a bicycle forever. Like it's just muscle memory.
Yeah,
You get on after
muscle
30
memory.
seconds, you'll be fine.
You can do it.
Yeah.
We were all in ninth grade. We was all ninth grade where we had to write. That's why I tell people, man, this probably gonna bring it home for a little bit for people. Ninth grade, we were all there, and we had to write essays. right? We have to write essays and turn it in, like do points of view, right? And outlines and all these different things to turn it in, to turn these essays in and write a full paper.
Yeah.
To write these full papers and boom, man. Okay. You do good, you get a good grade. You don't do good, you don't get a good grade.
Absolutely. And it's those same principles to kind of sit down and write. I mean, I just finished my bachelor's degree and all the papers I wrote over the last 10
Congratulations, by the
years.
way.
Thank you. And, it's didn't write a
Beautiful
ton of
feeling, ain't it?
papers, but man, it's an amazing feeling to be done. But, you just use the same structure, you just structure it the same way, come up with the bullet points, things you want to talk about. Tell you what, it's a lot easier to write about things that you have a passion about or things that you know about versus something that you don't. It kind of sucks being in school writing about, writing strategic plans for an automobile company. So I'm like, I don't know anything about the automobile industry. It kind of sucked. It was painful, but you get through it. But if you're going to write a story about yourself, like nobody, like you said earlier, nobody knows yourself like you do. Nobody in this world knows you like you do. So it should be pretty easy. Outline it and start writing. Or if you got some crazy story, made up story in your head about aliens and spaceships, or write it down.
Yeah, they sell too.
Everything sells, man.
They sell too.
Yeah, there's so many different genres of books. Just pick something and write it. So yeah, like you can say you're an author. You got something out there, something that can bring people joy. It can educate people. It can inspire people, whatever. And that's the power of books. Everybody gets a little something different out of everything. I mean, your stories are there for entertainment, telling a story. Other people's, educate. So, so once again, I appreciate you being on here, man. For those who are listening, it's diamantepublications.com. I got to scroll across the screen for those that watch it. So you can reach out to Brandon there if you got a book idea, something, or hit me up on the show and I'll get you his contact information and get you in touch with him. So any last words on writing, Brandon?
On writing, man, go out and be your best self. Go and publish a book. Like he said, like Keith said, even if you just get it published, get it printed, you set it on the shelf. Go and do something. Go tell your story. Go tell your story. You ain't got to come through Brandon or Diamante to get your stuff published. You don't. But go get your stuff published. Like go write your stuff down. Go talk about like all these military ideas. I mean, like things we've been through in the military. Oh my gosh. Like we've been through a lot of stuff. That's history. We created history. And so, write down your stuff. So when you're no longer here, somebody can be able to say they know it from your point of view. They know it from your point of view. You know what I mean? When your kids is 30, 40 years old, you no longer here. They know it from your point of view, and there you go. And now you're looking at it like,
we're
you know what I mean? Like, oh, I went through this. Like, we created history at Camp Buka, Iraq. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So those are the things that we have to really put in perspective. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about just in the world. We have to put these guys are listening to this podcast. Like, let me tell you, I seen my wife pass. That brought it home for me. I seen my wife pass. I ain't just I was at the store or anything like that. I seen her take her last breath. After 13 years, I seen her take her last breath. So when it comes down to life and experiences, we got to take life very serious. We have to take life very serious. I had to call the ambulance. I had to call and notify every single body in the family. My wife was a 17-time published author. 17-time published author. All right. So I posted that the next day. Her post went viral. 16,000 likes, 4,000 to 5,000 shares.
Wow.
um, her funeral was viewed by 6,000 people. Had 6,000
Wow.
views.
It's important to note that
Um,
that was during the pandemic too.
that was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff. So, and then it came back, cycle back around. I think it's like 8, 9. It's people that still, because it went viral, that still click on it or share it or like the this, that, and the third. It pops up on my inbox sometimes, on my feed or something. So we're talking about, take life serious. Because if you don't take it serious, who will?
That's a good
Take
point.
life serious.
And it's a heck
Go
of a
on
way.
vacation. Do things. Do the things you want to do. Don't put it off. Right? If you want your wife to go and live the best life, and she want to go on this place or that place, money is only monetary. You can get that stuff back, but experiences and regret, you can't get that back.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned something earlier, legacy, and your wife is a perfect example of that. She wrote 17 books. Those books are out there forever.
Mhm.
They're things that somebody could read. Hypothetically, somebody could be reading her book 400 years from now and get entertainment out of her book 400 years from now, 1,000 years from now. Like, you never know. Like, it's your legacy. So, well, anyway, man, I appreciate you being here. We'll go ahead and wrap it up, and I'll get to all of your links for anybody who's listening, viewing. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be in the episode show notes and everything like that, where they can reach out to you. So once again, Brian, I appreciate you being here, man. Thanks for being a battle
Sounds
buddy.
good.
Always
Appreciate
having
it.
it for me.
Yeah, absolutely, man.